Hello, everybody. Welcome to a really, really special episode of Coding with Culp. In fact, we could probably call this episode Coding with the Culps. Whatever. Today we have something really, really special planned for you.
Don't you know anything about YouTube?
Yeah, I make videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I do stuff on the computer, and then I upload them to YouTube, and people watch them.
Both of your subscribers.
Both of my subscribers. I got more than 2. I have like 3. Anyways.
You're supposed to beg for subscribers.
Oh, you're supposed to beg for subscribers?
Yeah.
Oh, how does that go?
Like this. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post a video.
When you post a video?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm taking over this channel.
Oh, you're taking over the channel, huh? Well, I don't know about that. Well, anyways, we have something really, really special today. Something I've been waiting quite a while for since it was released. Caroline, do you know what is in this bag?
It's Lego. Duh.
Well, yeah, but you know exactly what's in the bag?
No.
Okay, so I've been waiting many, many, many months for this since it was released. Why don't you open the bag and let's see.
Take out.
Oh, here we go. What is that?
Mindstorm mini robots.
Yeah, we got some mini robots here. Excellent. What else we got in there?
This little Lego kit.
Yeah, what do we got there? These are actually more robots.
Oh.
Let's show everybody.
And
then the big thing. Oh, yes. Yes.
Mindstorm, the brand new Mindstorm.
Yeah, it's the brand spanking new Lego Mindstorms. It's 51515, just released last week. I think I can't remember, it was Wednesday or Thursday, and I ran down to the Lego store to pick it up. So what do you think about the box?
I think it's really pretty, and I think if you like to code, but
Let's show everybody there.
If you were a kid and you like to code, but you didn't really know how to code, this would probably be good because you can have different robots and you can hook them up to what you know.
Oh, I see. So if you were a kid, you are a kid. Would you be attracted to that box? Does that box look neat?
Yes. Probably because...
Let's keep showing people.
The reason why, if you were a kid and you went to the Lego store and you saw this, I would be attracted to this because there's 5 in 1. So you're paying for 1, but you get 5.
5 robots?
5 robots. And then when you see down here, build, code, play, and rebuild. So it's not like you build it and then you're finished.
Ah, I see.
So you can take it apart because there's 5 robots. And
show them the back. Yeah.
And I also think if you were thinking about this would be a really good back because if you were a kid and you're like, the front's not really that good, then you could look at the back and you could see all the things you do because you can like pin attach, you can grab, you can blast.
So it's got a pin attachment robot. Looks like a drawing robot.
There's a shooter and a claw that I think is really cool. So I think, yeah, I would be attracted.
Very cool. So for me, I noticed that the box packaging is vastly different. And the graphics are vastly different than their Mindstorms kits from the past. It's a very pastel-like color. In fact, this almost reminds me of something that you'd see in the 80s with the colors and stuff like that. And the previous packaging for Mindstorms is very almost scientific. It's hard to explain. I wish I had my boxes. I just threw away my old boxes from the EV3. Just a few weeks ago, I was trying to make some more room, and I'm a box keeper. I keep boxes, but I threw those boxes away. Now I'm kind of regretting throwing them away
because since I've seen most of the boxes, this is very different. I think they're going for kind of like an elementary because when I see the normal boxes, like last year's boxes and all that, it looks more like Python. And if you look closely, it looks more like Scratch, which is a
Oh, you're
kid's
talking about the,
programming.
you're talking about, I see what you're saying right there. Right here, if you take a look,
that
it's showing
looks like
a Scratch. Yeah.
And if you don't know what Scratch is, if you go to a district, or you can just find it, scratch.com, you can go on here and you can code. It's really easy, and you just put them together.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact website, but you've done some programming in Scratch, right?
And it's very easy and it's very simple.
So you've done some programming before in Scratch with through your school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other experience in programming or coding?
Yes. In bop ball tournaments, in junior bop ball, that's mostly the only experience I've had, minus Scratch.
So let me explain junior bop ball for people out there. They probably don't know. Bop ball is a robotics program, educational robotics program.
It's for middle school, and basically you go to tournaments and you can compete.
Yeah, it's actually, they've got programs for elementary all the way up through high school, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I've been doing bop ball for, 22 years now, 23, something like that.
It's fun to go through photos, and you're like, oh, I remember that kid.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to have to open this thing up. So, this is super sharp.
Yes, I love it.
Okay. All right.
It's fine.
Hang on. It's fine. Yes. Your mom's going to kill me if you cut your finger off.
There.
Right,
see,
so
not
that
bad.
Okay. And we got these right here.
Everybody move, kid with the sharp blade.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's go like this. Okay?
Yeah, please do that.
Let me help you here.
Whee!
And then just like that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change before we open it up. Go ahead and flip it over.
Yeah, we need to flip this over.
All right. Now, hang on. Let's not open it up yet. Before we open it up, we only have one camera because I'm a poor YouTube channel. And we're going to move the camera to over here so that people can see us kind of open it up. Okay? Before we tear into the new Mindstorms kit, I kind of wanted to kind of go over the history of Lego Mindstorms and Lego Robotics and the different sets that have come out prior to this new set, the 51515 Mindstorms set. The very first set that was called Lego Mindstorms was released in, I believe, September of 1998. It's called the Robotics Invention System. And the main controller for it was the RCX brick. The RCX brick was actually pretty limited. It was based on an 8-bit Hitachi H8/300 microcontroller running at a whole entire 16 megahertz. It only had 32 kilobytes, that's kilo, not mega, not giga, 32K of RAM. My Commodore 64 that I have upstairs has twice that amount of RAM. And it had 32 kilobytes of ROM. And it was programmed via an infrared tower. So this tower hooked via a serial cable to your computer, and it sent an infrared signal to the infrared receiver, and that's how you programmed it. And speaking of that, the thing that made the RCX great was the community that grew up around it. Before long, you could actually program your Lego RCX in a variety of languages, from C-like languages like NQC, not quite C. I used a platform called Interactive C in the bop ball tournament. And there was a version of Java and quite a bit of other stuff that grew up around it. Now, the Lego RCX itself had 3 inputs and 3 outputs. So you can plug in 3 sensors or 3 motors and three motors. So the input-output was fairly limited, but it was absolutely amazing, the stuff that people came up with on the RCX. And it didn't take Lego long to upgrade. And in fact, there were a couple of upgrades on the robotics invention system as time went by. The first one was, I think, in, I want to say 1999. They came out with the 1.5. And then in 2001, they came out with the robotics invention system 2.0, which made mostly changes to what came in the kit and some minor changes to the RCX brick itself, although the RCX brick remained largely the same. then, in I want to say 2006, 2006, yeah, Lego came out with a Lego NXT kit. And it was a major, major upgrade over the RCX. And in fact, that's been a major theme in the Lego Mindstorms line, is that each iteration is a very clear, very distinct path forward, a very clear upgrade from the previous. And so the Lego NXT was running on an Atmel ARM7 processor, clocked at 48 megahertz, so quite a bit faster than the RCX. It had 64 kilobytes of RAM and I want to say 256 kilobytes of flash. It included a 100 by 64 pixel LCD. Now, it didn't have Wi-Fi. Doesn't have Wi-Fi, but it did have Bluetooth. It had no USB host capability and no micro SD card slot. However, it was an extreme upgrade over the RCX. Let's see if I can remember. I believe it had 3 motor ports and 4 sensor ports that you could use. And once again, the community that grew up around the NXT was absolutely amazing. And once again, before long, you could use C, Java, a variety of languages. I think you could even use Python on the NXT. There were a few upgrades along the way. I think maybe 2008, 2009, 2009, they came out with the NXT 2.0. Oh, by the way, prices on these, so we can compare with the new kit. The original RCX, I believe, retailed, the robotics invention system retailed, I want to say, for around $249. And so I first got my start in robotics with this right here. Started up my robotics club at the middle school that I teach at. And I got a grant. I want to say we bought about 10 RIS kits in 1999 to start that robotics club. The NXT retailed, I want to say, for just under $300, something like that, $290, $295 for the original NXT kit. So it was a price increase. And then we came to the EV3. This is the kit with the controller that the Spike Prime controller is replacing. And if I were to take and rank my favorite small robotics controllers, the EV3 is going to rank way up near the top. And it was a massive, massive upgrade from the NXT. It was running on an ARM9 processor, clocked at 300 megahertz, so over 6 times faster than the NXT. On the inside, it's actually running a full-blown version of Linux, which is one of the reasons why it takes so long to boot up. That was one of the main complaints of the EV3 is that it takes a long time to boot up. It's got 64 megabytes of RAM, not kilobytes. We're no longer measuring things in kilobytes. 64 megabytes of RAM and 16 megabytes of flash. However, that can be expanded because this has on it a micro SD card slot. And on that, with that micro SD card slot, you can actually do stuff such as replace the entire operating system with a different operating system. It has a Wi-Fi with a Bluetooth, a USB dongle. So there is a USB port on the EV3. And so you get a Wi-Fi connection by plugging in a Wi-Fi dongle. It's got built-in Bluetooth, USB host connector, and the other great thing is that it was largely backwards compatible with all the sensors and motors from the NXT. So if you had invested a whole lot of money, time, and effort in the NXT platform, and you wanted to upgrade to the EV3, you could still use all of your motors and all of your sensors. Which, speaking of that, you had another upgrade, 4 motor ports and 4 sensor ports. And I think I just showed you those backwards, but 4 and 4. And the other great thing about the EV3 is that you've got communication from one EV3 to another. You can plug them in together And there are a lot of robots that people have built where you've got multiple EV3 controllers controlling the same robot. So you can have a lot of motors and a lot of sensors all plugged in because the EV3s could talk to each other. The Spike Prime controller is a little bit of a downgrade to me, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when I get into the specs of the Spike Prime controller that comes with the 51515 kit. Because to me, the Spike Prime controller represents, in some cases, a step backwards, but in other cases, a step forwards. And as I said, I think each one of these represents a very, very clear, very distinct upgrade over the previous ones. The NXT is clearly better in every way from the RCX, and I think the EV3 is clearly better in pretty much every way from the NXT. I'm not so certain that you can say the same thing about the Spike Prime. I think it's better in some respects, but not others. But we'll get to that here in just a bit.
Okay, so we're gonna open this. This is the new Mindstorm.
All right,
so
let's take the lid off.
Ta-da!
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's take a look through it.
Okay, so this is probably for. Okay, we're gonna set this up.
Oh, we're gonna set this up like this.
So
okay.
this one is probably for this because these are looking like that. And on the packaging, that looks like a foam ball. Disclaimer, it's not. It is plastic. It looks like foam on there, but it's not. It is plastic.
So Lego is going to paper bags for their stuff. And obviously they haven't done it with this kit yet. But let's just kind of go through here. We got lots of Lego stuff. Lots of bags of Lego. This is interesting. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen this.
We have stickers for the thing.
Okay, stickers and a little instruction manual.
And I assume
book.
this is the battery, so we'll put those over.
Let's take a look. Open it up.
Oh.
This is the actual controller.
Whoa, this is different. Okay, I have seen controllers. I have seen controllers, but I've never seen something like this. And I've gone to so many bubble tournaments. I have seen my dad have controller after controller, and this is nothing like anything. Because I don't know if you guys can see, usually the controllers, oh wow, usually the controllers are like this or like this. Everything's down here.
So what I want you to do, this is the last controller, the EV3. Feel how, which one is?
Oh my gosh.
Keep it up here with in the camera.
Okay, so this was last year's, and then this is this year's. If you can see, there is a difference.
Right, but tell me about the weight.
Okay, so
Remember, keep it up here.
I think what they were doing for this one is heavier because this one also looks like it's not that easy to control with, and it has a bunch of wires. But with this one, it's made out of like plain Lego. The only thing that's electronical is this white part right here. Everything else is Lego.
So the new Mindstorms kit is based off of their new educational kit called Spike Prime. And the Spike Prime controller is considerably different than the last one, the EV3. You'll notice there is no LCD screen, and it is considerably lighter. I mean, considerably lighter.
If you were here, you would feel the difference. Like, why are these so different?
And one of the big differences is that the Spike Prime controller now comes with a rechargeable battery. In their previous controllers,
that is helpful. I'm saying that.
In the previous controllers, you had to pay, and let me tell you, Lego charged a pretty penny for the rechargeable controller. And so this one comes default with a rechargeable controller.
Okay.
So let's just go through all the facts.
If you did not see this, the controllers you don't actually use. The controllers go on the robots. Here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is, and here it is.
Correct. And it has places to plug in, 3 on the side and 3 on the side. and where you plug in motors and sensors. Now, unlike the previous iterations of Mindstorms, you can plug either a sensor or a motor into any of the ports. So you have 6 input and output ports, of which you can put a motor or sensor in any of them. So we got lots of bags of Lego. Lots and lots of bags of Lego.
These are the motors. I'm going to take one out so you guys can see it. But these are the motors, and this moves a little bit. And then if you can see... So here's the motors. There's
Let's see how many motors. I think you're right.
Yeah, there's
we get 4 motors.
And then we have this one for... These are eyes.
So in previous, I know in the EV3 kit, so here's one of the motors. And another difference or change from previous years, in the EV3 and the NXT kit, the wire is detached from the motor and the controller. So you can use any wire, actually, with any motor or sensor. And now the wires are built in. I don't know that I like that. We'll talk about that later. But you do get 4 motors. 4 motors rather than 3. That's what you got in the EV3 kit.
These are eyes to this one, and they plug in right here for these.
So this is a ultrasonic sensor, and what that does is it gives you a distance.
Okay.
Let's see what else we've got.
Charger.
Yeah, so this is your USB cable.
We have
more bags of Lego. More bags of Lego.
We have wheels and parts here.
Let's see those wheels. I really like... Let me open this up.
Remember, there's a microphone.
I know. All right. I love the new wheels. And we've got another sensor right here. I believe this is the color sensor. Cut me.
Okay, then. Please don't cut somebody.
There we go. All right. This right here is the color sensor. And you can use that for line following and quite a bit of other stuff.
This is the ball. It is plastic. And there it is.
All right. And so once again, a lot of Lego. A ton of Lego in here. It's got 949 parts and pieces. I believe that includes all of the motors and everything else. But it's a lot of stuff. The base price on this one right here, I believe, is... I want to say $349, $350 US dollars.
Usually, I would say this is not worth, but I think it would be easier for kids, and I think they would have more fun, because if you bought, like, a robot made with Python, kids would not know how to program that. With Scratch, it's easier, so I would say this is worth, because you have 5 robots, they all include Scratch, and then it's easier for kids to program.
One other thing. So the Spike Prime, the controller this is based off of, is actually programmable in Scratch and also Python. And we're going to take a look at both of those programming environments here in just a little bit. I think what we need to do now... Oh, you know something else I noticed that's different? In previous kits from the robotics invention set way back in 1999 through the NXT and the EV3, there was a mat, and in the EV3 that mat went around the box.
Wait, is that mat that we use? Wait, that was the EV3?
The mat has the black and white path and a bunch of other stuff on it. And I noticed that this one doesn't have it. And in fact, when I look inside, I don't see... No, let's see here. Yeah, I'm not seeing...
That's a thing that I did. This is part of it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a mat, so that's interesting.
That is... I'm sad because I love the mats. The reason why is because it gives you a space. So if it came with a mat, you could lay this down and you can make obstacle courses. With this, you can't, which I think is just, I don't really know. I just don't think this is what we were expecting. I was expecting maybe a map, but...
Anyways, so I think our next step, what we need to do is we need to sit down, we need to build one of the robots, we need to download the software, and we need to program one of those robots, and then kind of give our feedback on that. So what do you think? Which one do you want to build?
Let's do this. Let's build this one.
Want to build this guy in the center? Okay. Well then, let's get to work downloading software and building this robot. Okay, I want to show you the software real quick. I'm really actually quite impressed with the software that the new kit comes with. So let's fire it up. It's really easy to install. If you're on Windows or Mac, just go to the Windows or Mac App Store and you can get it from there. If you are on a mobile device such as an iOS or a Android device, you can just go to those particular stores and get it from there. When you first start it up, though, you're presented with this right here, and it's the 5 basic robots that you can build with the new Robot Inventor kit. And we built Blast, and I think you can see Blast over here, and I've got them turned off. And you can click on any of the robots, and it takes you to their building screen. You can also download, this is something else I like, if you want paper directions, you can also download the paper directions and print them out if you want. And then there's a lot of further activities that you can do after you're done. But the building instructions are clear, they're easy to follow. They're clear, they're easy to follow. For example, the first thing you do with Blast is you're going to build a frame to help support his body as you build various things. And you just click build, and it takes you through the build instructions. Typical of Lego, the build instructions are very clear, very concise. I thought very well laid out, so I didn't have any issues with those. And also, as you go along, there will be some coding activities. For example, right here, step 2 of this is just connecting to the hub, but I'll get to that in just a minute. I wanted to show you the programming environments. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time other than to say that I really like the software. I did shoot a different video earlier, and it was almost more of a tutorial of using the software, and it turned out to be over 30 minutes. And I was like, I can't add that in here. My video will be well over an hour long. So anyways, if you just want to code, okay, let's go back home. Okay, so let's go back to here. If you just want to code, just hit right here, and it takes you to the coding interface. Let me shut this down. All right, there we go. Okay, there we go. So you can go to File. You can also go File, New Project, and you can either do one in Word Blocks, which is the Scratch-like interface, which I really enjoy, I really like, and the Python. And this is where I think this thing really, really shines, because I was most interested in programming it in Python. Now, the kids that I deal with usually are a bit older, a bit more advanced, and they don't always need the block type environment. However, my daughter really, really loves the block type environment. She's not at an age where she, really likes typing, and she has some fine motor control issues where fingers get tired pretty quickly, and she's got a little bit of dysgraphia, and so she loves the block programming environment. All right, so let's start up something in Python, and it's going to give you a little template here, but we still need to connect to the brick. So let's connect to the brick real quick. The brick is off. I keep calling it the brick, but I know it's the hub. I know they changed the name. It's called the hub now. So whenever you hear me call it the brick, just realize that I've been dealing with Legos. I've been dealing with Lego for a really long time, since I was a kid in the 70s. And into the 80s, but I started in Mindstorms when it was called the brick in 1999. But anyways, just click right here, and you can connect either USB or Bluetooth. I'm going to connect via Bluetooth, and it's going to tell you to turn it on. So I'm going to turn it on, and because I've already went through the connection process before, it's going to find it automatically. So it found it automatically, and I'm going to hit connect. Okay, there we go. So the hub was successfully connected, and you can see up here it's got everything, all your ports, and it tells what's plugged into the ports and the current status of those different ports. The only thing I wish, and you can still get that information, but by clicking on the hub. So if you click on the hub, it'll tell you the tilt, orientation, gyro rate, and accelerometer values for everything. You can see as I change this, you can see the accelerometer values changing. Y must be the up-down direction here, so you can see that as I go up, the Y value gets much less. You can see the orientation here, so we're oriented on the right side going down. If I turn it, let's see. Yep, there we go. And then, of course, the gyro rates. They should be close to 0. But then if I go like this, yeah, there we go. Okay. So I was really impressed with the documentation. Like I said, I really wanted to use Python with this. And so before I bought it, I went out and I searched and searched and searched for API, a programming reference for the Lego Mindstorms Python libraries. And I couldn't really find much information. I was really disappointed. I thought maybe Lego said, yeah, you can program it in Python, but didn't put out a lot of documentation. However, right here, everything that you need to know. This is absolutely awesome and amazing. It's right there at your fingertips. Want to know how to access a button? Click here. Gives you all the information you need to know. Want to know how to control, get a reading from your distance sensor? Click here. It tells you how to start it up and initialize it. Tells you all the actions that you can do with it, all the functions you can call, how to get measurements. Okay, events. I think this is really cool. They actually have a function attached to the distance sensor called wait for distance further than. So let's say you've got something that's close up, and maybe you want to know when it's moved away. You can wait for distance further than, or you can wait for distance closer than. So if maybe you're moving towards a wall, you start your motors, start creeping towards that wall, and you say wait for distance closer than, I don't know, 10 centimeters. And as soon as you are closer than 10 centimeters, turn your motors off. So I absolutely love this. I mean, the documentation here is awesome. So in the last video, I told you I shot a video. I wrote a little test program. And so I went through doing everything, and like I said, the video turned out to be well over 30 minutes.
So let's just go through. It gives you some template or boiler code at the beginning. And so what I do is I initialize a distance sensor in port number F, a color sensor in E, and my drive motors. For this, it takes a motor pair. This is your left motor and your right motor. And so then I just did some little piddly stuff. I set the speaker volume to 100. I had the light matrix show one of the default images of Ghost. Set the brightness of the light matrix to 100, which is the maximum brightness. Then I just did a silly little loop here. I said for tone in range 44, because it starts at 44, to 123. That's the last tone. These are MIDI tones or MIDI notes. I don't know much about MIDI notes, but anyways, and then I go up by 2s. And then I just do hub.speaker.beep. I send it the tone value, and we beep for 1/10 of a second. When all that's done, then I decided to test a little while loop. I say, well, hub.left button, you've got access to your 3 buttons on here. So I said, while hub.left button is pressed equals false. So while it's not pressed, do this. And we're going to print out our distance sensor and our color sensor. We're going to wait for about 1/4 of a second so it doesn't scroll by too fast. In fact, I'm going to increase that. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to increase this value to about 1/3 of a second. Whoa, not 335 seconds. 123.33. There we go. Once you press the left button, it's going to wait for 2 seconds, and then it's going to do some stuff with the drive motors. He's going to go forward and then spin around. And then the light matrix is going to write done. He's going to print done to the terminal. So let's run it. So all you got to do is hit run right here. It's going to download it. There we go. So that's the Ghost image. It's doing its sound. Now it's gone into the loop, and let's take a look at that loop. So it's printing to the screen here, to the terminal. The 6 is our distance, and none is the color sensor. Let's put that, and he sees it as red. So he's seeing red. By the way, this is Bot Guy. He's a mascot of a robotics contest I've participated in with my middle school students for, 22 years, I think, called Bot Ball, and you can get a lot of information. Oh, no. No, I don't want to restart right now. You can get a lot of information about the Botball contest from botball.org. I'll put a link down there. They don't use the Lego controller. They use their own more advanced controller. But they've got contests for elementary school all the way up to high school, and it's a really, really cool contest. Anyways, so now all we have to do, well, let's try out a different color. We know it senses red. Let's try this. This is yellow, and it sees it as yellow. Very good. So now let's press the button. He should shoot forward and then turn. 1,000, 2,000. Oh, wait a minute. 1,000, 2,000. There we go. And then he should turn. And now he's going to print done on the screen. And he prints done right here. So there we go. So I'm really impressed with the software. I think it's incredibly easy to use. The documentation for their Python libraries is really, really nice. I like the fact that it's right here. If I got a question on how to read a distance sensor or a button or whatever, I can get it right here. Let's look at the Scratch interface real quick. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Go to File, New Project. Let's look at word blocks, is what they call it. I keep calling it Scratch, but same thing. The amount of blocks that it comes with is absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing. I remember on the EV3, I was not impressed with their Scratch-like interface when they started making it. But tons of movement functions, all this light function, sound, a lot of events, and so I'm really impressed with all of it. And once again, let me show you something else. I forgot to add in. You can actually control it, remote control it. You can design your own remote control right here. So let's go widgets. And I'm not going to do anything with it, but there we go. So that's the D-pad, and you can do other stuff, and you can actually remote control your robot and connect it up to the controller. You can also do PS4, so you can control it via a PS4 or Xbox interface. Let's make this bigger, smaller, etc. If you come down here, right here, hit plus. There's extensions. They have all sorts of extensions, from music to model blocks, weather manager. I don't know what most of these do, but down here, experimental, you can see the DualShock 4 controller and the Xbox One controller that you can use with it. Heck, let's just look at weather manager real quick and just see what it is. Weather manager extension is added, so weather. Set location. Oh my gosh, no. You can set your location. I bet it goes out to the internet and it gets weather information for that location. Oh my gosh, that's really cool. Wow, it's heck, let's just look at the more movement functions. I mean, how much more movement can you get? More movement, move straight, stop moving, set movement speed. I wonder how that's different from the regular movement functions, because that looks to be the same. So I'm not sure how that's different. Oh, there is a little bit, there is some more advanced stuff. Set movement acceleration to fast. So it's how fast you accelerate when you move. Oh my gosh, was movement interrupted? That's a really cool block right there. So anyways, I need to go ahead and stop. Suffice it to say that I'm really impressed with the software. I think of all the software that Lego has come out with so far of their different kits, and I've owned every kit that they've came out with since 1999. I think that I like this software the absolute best, Lego-wise, for Lego produced software.
All right, here we are. We're going to give our final thoughts about what we thought about the new Robot Inventor set number 51515. So I thought we'd start maybe with Caroline. What was your overall impression of the set?
Like my overall, like.
Yeah, did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like? What did you not like?
It was actually really fun and nice. I think it's easier for robot collectors like my dad. I wouldn't suggest it because I think they were going for a more little kid, because Scratch is really easy and it's really easy to program. And yeah, I think it overall, from my opinion, it's really good. You can make different robots, you can program it, let it sing songs, move it around. It's not that hard to program.
So you don't have a lot of experience with programming.
No, the only thing that I've really programmed, Python a little bit, and then this.
Right,
Scratch.
so we did Python in a robot contest. Oh gosh, was it last summer?
Yeah, I think last summer.
Yeah, I think it was last summer. And so you did a little bit of Python programming,
That's
really
about it.
simple stuff. And then you've done some Scratch at school, right?
Mm-hmm.
A programming club that we put you in, that you wanted to be in. And so, what did you like better? How did you like the software? The software that we were using.
It was really nice. It's Scratch. It's not Scratch like Scratch. So if you think
it's based upon Scratch.
Yeah,
right?
it's based upon Scratch, but it's not like move forward 10 steps, repeat that. It's like, do you want to move motor A with motor C, and then you can change the little patterns on its face and make it sound so it's like Scratch, but it's not exactly like Scratch.
Yeah, I think they call it word blocks. So what you're saying is you have a lot of control. You can control which motors, you can control how much power, how far they move, stuff like that.
In Python, it's like straight, turn, straight.
The Python that you were using, Now,
Yeah.
So I'll talk about the software. I really liked the software. It was one of my favorite parts of this. And I'll get to that when I talk kind of about my overall impression. Was there anything you didn't like about the kit?
Yes.
What was that?
Probably that I didn't like about the kit is that sometimes it could be confusing, because if you were a kid, and I'm not taking my whole thing away, it's just that you can't memorize. Well, you can. It's just that, like, you can't memorize motor A, motor D, motor C, motor whatever.
Oh, I
that
see.
is.
So remembering.
So it's hard to, because you could put motor A with like motor A with like motor V, so it would literally just start moving.
So let me see if I can kind of rephrase that. remembering which motor was plugged into which port
Mhm.
can be difficult. Whether you had the left motor in port C and the right motor in port D or whatever could be a little difficult when you were programming. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay, okay. What did you think about the quality of the parts that were in the kit?
The
Quality
parts?
of the Lego and the
The
motors
Lego?
and stuff like that?
Like right now, or when we were building it.
Yeah, what you think?
So I'm gonna do when we were building it. It was really nice. It was easy to connect. Some parts were harder to connect, but those there's not a lot of them. Yeah, some just snap together. It's really nice. And then this one, it's actually really strong. I I was programming it over there, and it dropped onto the chair, and it didn't break. No scratches, no bruises, and it literally didn't face plant. It went here, and it still worked. It still did its motor. So I think this is really strong, and it's good quality.
I was actually pretty impressed with how strong the robot was when I was looking at pictures. I was like, ooh, but he's actually pretty sturdy little robot here.
Sometimes when you want to be careful, because you could make him go 100 and then
100% speed, right?
100% seat, and then you would just stop, and he would barge forward, and that's really the only problem that I saw, where he could just barge forward and kind of like lean,
Right. So he is a little
wobbly.
kind of wobbly the way he is. You're right. You're right. He is.
But we haven't
Um,
tested out of the other the robots that you can build, so this is just the problem with this one.
so let's say you had a friend. I mean, if you had any friends.
Like, you have any friends that aren't old men?
Oh, whatever. Um, so let's say you had a friend and they were like, "Hey, I really want to get into robots or programming robots." Would this be a kit that you would recommend to them?
I wouldn't. Yes, overall yes, but I wouldn't buy the kit first off, because you may want to start with Scratch and just normal Scratch and program there, and then you can buy this
Oh, I see.
once you see like your kid is really into this, they like it. This would be a great idea for them.
Ah, I see what you're saying. This is a pretty big investment. It's either $349 or $359.
Yeah, so you're gonna buy this kit, waste $300, and your kids just gonna let it sit
So
there.
Scratch is free. You can download it
Yes.
and see if your child really likes programming before you invest, $350, $60 into the robot kit. But if they really were into programming, would you recommend this kit right here?
Yes,
Yeah.
but if they were used to Python or whatever programming you use, I would still it would still be good. I just think it would be a little confusing for the people that use Python most of
I
the
see.
time.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So I'm going to give my final thoughts and impressions of the kit. I have to admit, I went into this. I did something I'm not supposed to do. You shouldn't
What?
do when you're going to go in and you're going to review
Oh
something.
no, what?
I went into it knowing that I wasn't going to like it.
Oh!
I went
Yeah,
into
101, don't do that.
I went into it with kind of a bad impression already. I knew that the kit was based upon their Spike Prime controller.
He thought it was going to be wobbly, or it was going to be loose from the photos. You thought it was just going to be too,
Well, in reality, I knew that this was based upon their Spike Prime controller. And reading the Spike Prime controller specs on paper, I just didn't think that it was better than the EV3. And so I went into it. In fact, I skipped Spike Prime. It came out in I want to say January, and I didn't buy a Spike Prime kit because I just didn't.
Dude,
think
if you're one of these unboxers, you have to have everything.
So if I become an unboxer on YouTube, I have to unbox everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know exactly where I'm going on this YouTube channel yet, but so I knew that I wasn't going to like it, and so I went into it with bad attitude. I gotta say, I'm really impressed with this kit. At the end, I really enjoyed it. I really liked it, and I still am not convinced. So I said it before. every single generation of controller in the Mindstorms line. I've owned every one of them since they came out in 1999. Okay, so every iteration of the Mindstorms line since they first came out in 1999, which I've owned every single line of Mindstorms since they've come out, from the RCX to the NXT to the EV3, with a very clear upgrade from the previous controller in the previous set. And I'm still not convinced that the Spike Prime controller is a clear, absolute upgrade from the EV3. Now, it has some things that I think are positive. Number one, it's got the built-in accelerometer and gyroscopes. Awesome. The fact that it has built-in Bluetooth, the how light it is, and it's built-in. What am I trying to say here? It's built-in rechargeable battery. Absolute upgrades over the EV3.
Also,
Absolute upgrades over the EV3. The EV3, you had to use regular batteries in it, and so they would run out pretty quick, and it got expensive. Or you could buy a rechargeable battery from Lego for about $100. I mean, they were really expensive. But this one has a rechargeable battery built into it. And my favorite thing about this kit isn't necessarily the controller, and it's kind of grown on me. It's the software. And
Scratch?
Not Scratch.
The web?
Nope, you can program it in Python. It's got, in that same software you were using, there's a Python interface, and I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed it, and the documentation on it is just amazing, and so I really love the software.
So I take that back. If you do Python, yes, you can buy this.
Yeah, so the great thing about it is, right out of the box, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go download some third-party software or anything. It's ready to go, Python and a Scratch-like language right out of the bat. A couple of things I don't like about the controller. Number one, it's not as fast. It's not as powerful as the EV3. I like the fact that of the 6 ports that it has built in, it doesn't matter. They're not separated into motor ports or sensor ports. You can plug in a motor or a sensor into any of those ports, and you get 6 of them. I just wish Lego would have maybe made it 8. Okay, I've built many robots in my life where you needed more than 8 ports for motors and sensors. Which brings up another point that I think they kind of went backwards on. The EV3, you could do brick-to-brick communication so that you can plug in multiple bricks together. And I don't know of a way to do that on the Spike Prime controller. But overall, absolutely love this. And so what I would say is, if you're a person, kid, or a parent, and you don't already own an EV3 set, and you're looking to get into robotics and Lego robotics, absolutely go out and buy this kit.
Yes,
It's an
very
excellent
good.
kit. Now, the question becomes, let's say you already own an EV3, or if you're like me, I've got about 3 or 4, I think I've got 4 or 5 EV3 controllers. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to go out and buy the Spike Prime kit, especially considering this is another mistake, I think. The motors and sensors are not compatible with the EV3. When you went from the NXT to the EV3, all your motors and sensors were compatible, so you weren't losing anything. So if you invested a lot of money into motors and sensors on the NXT, you still use those on the EV3, and you cannot do that with the Spike Prime. So it becomes a bigger question of, if you want to, if you already own an EV3, is it worth it to upgrade? And in that case, I'm going to tell you that's really kind of up to you. And only you can really decide that. I like the kit, and I'm glad I did buy it, and I think I'm going to have some fun with it. But if you already own an EV3, you might not want to. One last thing before we go. Down in the description, I've got a link. You can go buy one from Amazon. It is an affiliate link. If you go and click on it and click through and buy one, I get a little bit, a few percent of the selling price. It doesn't increase the price for you, but it gives us a couple of dollars, and we can use that to help expand the channel. I joked earlier in the video that we only had one camera, and That's actually the truth. We have one
Yeah.
camera.
That's the only
That's the
camera
only
we have.
we have. Anyways, so we would really appreciate it if you supported the channel, like the video, subscribe, and once again, as I say in my actual coding videos, every day is a great day to learn how to code.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
You do not count. Make sure to like and subscribe. You don't count. You go, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell when I post a video. See you guys later. Bye.
Okay, what she said. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.